What's up, y'all? So your girl Ebony K. Williams went on the Breakfast Club to triple down on what she said. But my only problem with you, girl, is you deflected and didn't stay on the course and say you said what you said. Y'all ready to jost this right quick? Let's jost.
Come on, Blaze.
It's the beef for me.
Wow, 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 wow. For your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we live.
Hey guys, it's your girl Voodoo back with a quick little joke on Ebony K. Williams and her stance on she wouldn't date a bus driver unless he owned the bus. Listen, girl. I have been following her little, story, not really a story, but her little issue that she had when she had the interview with Iyanla. If y'all haven't caught my video that I did yesterday, I did a joke with her, Brian McKnight, and a couple of other people, Erica Mena and all these other people, but we're now focusing on Ebony K. Williams and her aftermath and the backlash she's receiving for saying she wouldn't date a bus driver unless he owned the bus. I don't think there's anything wrong with what she said. I think the only place Ebony went wrong was trying to deflect and put it on black people as a whole and try to make it seem like it's a cry to help for black people, when in actuality, it was just her preference. And she should have just stood on that instead of going all this far. Nevertheless, she's received backlash on Twitter, TikTok, everywhere, especially from black men. And for the life of me, I don't know why we as black women even still care, but nevertheless, we do. So she's received all this backlash, and she was invited over to the Breakfast Club, where unbeknownst to her, she would find that DJ Envy, the beige hero, was in his feelings because he felt like she was bashing people who work regular jobs, although he don't. Listen, girl, let me say this. I don't feel like she bashed regular working jobs. I don't feel like she bashed the average American. I don't feel like she bashed the average black American. I don't even think she bashed black men. I think she just said where she's at in her dating pool and where she's at in her life, she wants to date somebody who matches her fly and her finances. There's nothing wrong with that. But Ebony, where you went wrong is, instead of just saying, look, I said what I said, that's my preference, and kept it strictly on the preference, you went off into this diatribe about how you want to help black people do better than average and be more than mediocre. And I think that's where you lost a lot of people. So now we're here at the Breakfast Club, and Ebony's talking to Charlemagne the Goddess and DJ Envy, trying to basically defend her stance. Now, there's nothing wrong with how she defended her stance as far as what she believes. But I just feel like when you put it on a culture, instead of saying what you said and elaborating on it and addressing the backlash, I think that's where you went wrong. And I think when you go wrong there, that's what creates this balloon full of BS, which I feel like this. Bad publicity is better than no publicity. If she wanted to get her little griot show off the ground and get her name out there, you've definitely found a way to do that. But I just need you to stay on the course. Now, if y'all have been living under a rock and don't know, she did an interview with Iyanla after she did an interview on the Breakfast Club, basically talking about, the dating pool, which I don't understand why we listening to women of that age in this day and age, because we are not those women. We are different. However, she felt like she needed to have an interview with Iyanla in regards to her stance on the black women today and how they need to be able to move in order to find love, seeing though that we're much more successful, is what she was saying. But she had Iyanla on the show, and Iyanla asked her, would she date a bus driver? And she said, if he owned the bus, yes. Well, Black America at least, got up in arms in their feelings, because we all thrive off of feelings in 2023. Nobody cares about facts or logic. It's all feelings. And all the black men and black male worshipers got into this doggone feeling pool and was like, you just bashing people who work regular jobs. My grandmother worked a regular job. My daddy only got a third grade education. Girl, that ain't got nothing to do with what this girl just said. But nevertheless, she's on this Breakfast Club interview, and she's giving her stance on how she feels, and Envy ain't here for it. DJ Envy really feels some type of way that she literally sat up there and said she wouldn't date a bus driver because, like he said, his daddy was a police officer. Well, your daddy was the same police officer that you tried to doggone take up for when they were talking about the George Floyd and all these other police injustices that's going on in the world. So DJ Envy, we don't want to hear it. If you cared and loved your daddy and revered your daddy so much, you would have turned into a police officer, but you didn't. You subconsciously felt that it wasn't good enough for you, so you turned into a DJ and a radio show host and real estate mogul and all these other things that you've decided to do because you subconsciously felt that being a police officer and making an honest average living was not good enough for you and your family. So I just hate the hypocrisy that we get when we start having these type of conversations. But anyways, Eboni gets to this interview and she's basically trying to defend her stance by bringing all of Black America into it. And I don't think that was necessary, girl. You could have just said what you said. Look, I make X amount of money. I don't want to have to take care of no man. And this is what I'm looking for. And I don't want no man who drive the MARTA or the city bus or the school bus. I want my man to own the buses. You get it? That's what I would have just stuck to. But she let them gaslight her and get her where she's at. So this is where we are. Let me let y'all listen to the clip and I'll come right back with little commentary.
Out and God bless our essential workers. Nobody loves them more than your girl here. But you know what I don't love is that Black folks died at a 2-to-1 rate of during COVID, that Black folks were on ventilators more often during COVID. And part of the reason why that was the case, y'all, is because we over-index in the blue-collar working sector, in the essential jobs. And many of us don't have the option that we all had, which was to do our jobs virtually. So we are on the front lines in a way that disproportionately makes us vulnerable. We're dying because of it. That is my issue. Not to disrespect these people.
I feel like,
girl, you were talking to Iyanla about dating, and you were asking how does a woman of your caliber get a man that you love and that can provide and protect, and you went off into this whole diatribe now about people working during the C-19 and all this other stuff when this is irrelevant to the point. Why? And this is where you lost a lot of people. Now, I will say this. I still am team your message. You know what I mean? Because your message rings true. We are a people that settle for the average. And that's why we're at the bottom of the working class and all those other things. I agree with that. But it was just very unnecessary, girl. You could have just stuck to what you were saying, right? And moved on that and say, I said what I said. I make X amount of money. I have this amount of education. I'm not looking for no man I got to take care of. That's what you should have just stuck to, but you didn't. So now here we are. I'm going to let y'all hear a little bit more of the clip and I'll come right back.
you changing the goalposts, right? What people were upset about was what you said, and everything that you said could absolutely positively be true. People were upset that they felt like that you were putting down the average person, quote unquote average job, and the person that was working the average job, that their what they do is not as good as what you do.
That's a projection, Envy. Envy, that's a projection. Because
I'll let you speak. Let me talk.
Go ahead, Envy. Yeah.
So when you start talking about all this, and I read the comments just like you did because I wanted to prepare myself when you came up here to understand what people were mad about and understand what people were upset about. So when you're talking about all this brother this and the black man this and the white supremacy this and this, that, and the other, that's all to the side of how you felt about that quote unquote average job, right? And I'll be honest with you, right? And one of the comments that I said, and maybe I'm not sure, right? The guy was like, you talk about all this about lifting a brother up and lifting this up and white supremacy and what you do for our people. And then the first thing the brother said was, but your fiance was white. And I'm sitting there like, how do you talk about how much you're uplifting and how much you're going for black people, but that's not necessarily what you're even looking for?
Well, first of all,
paging Dr. Umar, damn.
Well, let's address it. And let's not skip a beat.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to know how you, Envy, know what I'm looking for, because we never had the conversation.
I don't know.
But you just
I'm telling you what
it.
people are saying on comments what I've read, and I'm talking for them. I'm not a bus driver. I'm speaking for the average person out there, because I feel for them, because the bus drivers and the average person are what keeps these lights on here on the Breakfast Club. That's right. They keep me booking
Envy,
shows.
Nobody is saying. Okay, first of all, this is not about you booking shows.
I'm just telling you how I feel. So when you shit on the people that
first of all,
ride with me,
Envy, you're dead ass wrong for framing it as me shitting on them.
You don't think it was shitting on them?
I know it. First of all, I know it wasn't. I think what you're saying right now is irresponsible. I think what you're saying is irresponsible.
Do you listen to the calls, how people feel?
I think what you are framing right now in this moment is highly irresponsible. Because I'm going to, if you listen, I'm going to tell you. Because if you were to listen to all of the full Iyanla interview, the full sidebar, the full episode of Holding Court, nowhere in any of that commentary did I say a cross or negative word about the working class of Black America, of America broadly, or black men. I'm going to get to the why was my fiance. Envy, let me finish this statement.
Do you know what people feel?
I'm going to get to.
Just because you didn't mean to hurt somebody, just because you didn't mean to affect somebody, doesn't mean you didn't hurt a community. I can say anything about somebody and be like, I didn't mean to hurt you. But if you hurt people, you hurt people. If people feel a way about you, they feel a way about you, because those people that you talked about are the people that buy your books, that listen to this show, and they're hurt.
Ebony, what about?
DJ Envy, stop the cap. First of all, you said she's moving the goalpost, but you moving the goalpost because this went from her basically saying that, hey, look, I don't want to date a person who drives a bus, into you saying, well, do you know how that makes people feel? You shitted on the people who work regular jobs and they ride with me and they the people who buy your books and the people who get me bookings and all of that. This has nothing to do with that. This has absolutely nothing to do with that. And at the end of the day, you riding with them people till you not, and you talking about shitting on people. How often do you get up on the Breakfast Club talking about your portfolio, about your real estate, about how you setting your kids up to go to better schools and private schools and all that stuff? So the same thing could be said about you, Envy. And that's the part that I don't like about this. People want to disagree when their feelings get hurt. But at the end of the day, you can turn around and just be just as condescending and negative toward the same people that you acting like you stand with. Because DJ Envy does not stand with the average working person, as you hear him say, oh, I'm not a bus driver. That means that you find that bus drivers are average just as much as she does. But he won't say that because now he has the people's ear whose feelings are hurt. And let me just say this about the feelings being hurt. Us as Black Americans got to get out of our feelings. Listen, the hard truth comes and most people don't like it because it's hard and it's a hard pill to swallow. But at the end of the day, a lot of times we need to hear it. As Black people, average is not good enough. We know when we're average. Listen, I'll say this. Growing up, my mother, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys listening, your parents has told you this, especially if you're a Black woman, you have to be extraordinary. You have to go over and beyond. You cannot be regular because you're not going to be judged the same. Isn't that the same thing as Ebony saying that average is not okay? I mean, I know that's what I've been taught. I don't know who y'all mamas was, but that's what I've been taught. Even in my career right now, I cannot be average and do mediocre work because if I did mediocre work, although it's not negative, it will be perceived as negative because of who I am. There's nothing wrong with leveling up. Absolutely nothing wrong with leveling up. And I feel like DJ Envy is taking this opportunity to play on the heartstrings of the people who are in their feelings, which I think as a collective, we need to get out of our feelings so that we can move forward in life. But I think he's playing on the heartstrings of the people who are in their feelings so that he can get some kudos. But remember, people in y'all feelings, DJ Envy shits on y'all too, because he'll be quick to tell you, oh, I don't drive a bus. Oh, I got X amount of properties. Oh, I got this. I got that. My children go to private school. My daddy was the police, the same police that the average person like us having issues with. So I just don't agree with Envy. I just feel like Envy is gaslighting. I feel like Envy is trying to find a reason to make Ebony seem like she's just this horrible person when I don't think she's a horrible person. I think she said what she said. And this is why, Ebony, I feel like you should have stuck to the original comment and stuck just on that in your preference. When you move in and deflect over to all this other stuff, this is what happened. There's more though. I'm gonna let y'all listen to it and I'll come back with more commentary.
Words like average, mediocrity, typical, and the bigotry of low expectations. I think those are the words that hurt the working class.
You can sit here and say, no, I didn't hurt nobody. You hurt people out there that buy your books and follow you and support you.
You asked me to be quiet. Y'all, please. Y'all asked me to be quiet. I listened to your full statement. I understand you have a feeling about it.
I let you talk for 22 minutes and I just spoke for 60 seconds.
She is here to talk to him.
I know, but I'm just saying, I just spoke for 60 seconds.
We got ours off already. Let Ebony talk.
I'm just returning what she said. But
Go ahead,
don't act like I didn't let her speak. She spoke for 22 minutes.
Go ahead, Ebony. Let her talk. Don't do that. Let her go. Go ahead.
So, Envy, this is where we're different. My primary focus and goal when I do what I do in the world is not to protect feelings. I'm going to be candid with you. I understand it's clear from the energy that there is an emotional attack that you felt was on Black men, the working class, and Black America. I'm going to hold the space for the hurt feelings around that. But more than I care about hurt feelings, I care about providing my people with facts and information that say that the current way of life for the majority of Black Americans is not serving us. I'm going off of the data and the facts. That is, I am not okay, and I don't think it's okay, that the vast majority of Black Americans, again, overpopulate, disproportionately occupy spaces that are not ideal, that make us vulnerable. I talked about the COVID, that make us vulnerable to death, disease, maternal health, all the things that y'all all talk about on this show every day. Now, if y'all are okay with the current positioning of Black America, that we are the lowest income, the lowest home ownership, the lowest educated group, then so be it. And let's just stop talking now and keep on going about our business. Envy, I'm not okay with it. So that is why I said what I said about addressing the bigotry of low expectations. It's the bigotry of low expectations is the reason why I have to submit that black men are now going to HBCUs and college and generally at half the rate of black girls and women. I don't think that's okay.
Shouldn't we address the system that put us in these positions?
We are addressing the system, but first we have to name it, Charlamagne. See, that's where people's feelings are getting hurt, is the fact that I am naming it. I am saying that it is not okay to bring C's and D's to your home and then expect to go on to higher education and acquire a higher skill set. And when you say that, that is hurtful to people, Envy. I'm acknowledging the pain. But somebody has got to start telling the truth to our people. And some of y'all wonder why you get the political representation y'all get, because some folks would rather hear things that make them feel good than understand and hear the things that are the truth. So let's talk about average, mediocre, and typical. Because a lot of people felt a way about it. Well, I looked it up. I did the service of pulling it up out of Merriam-Webster. So this is not Ebony shitting on anybody, Envy. This is simply to say when you do something average, by definition, it is of typical value. It is normal and it is standard. When you are regular, normal, acceptable. When you are mediocre, that would have people real hot. It means ordinary, medium, commonplace, and moderate.
And the bigotry, don't forget the bigotry of low expectations.
I'm going to get to that. That's an academic study. Okay. So those of you that think that's George W. Bush, go do your reading. Go do your reading. But let's talk about those words, Charlamagne. Nothing in there says you ain't shit. Nothing in there says it's bad or low or beneath.
They've applied the negative connotation to those
That's
words.
a projection, and I'm not going to stand for it, because you need to be honest with the actual semantics in which we are talking about. So when you say regular, hardworking, everyday people, Charlamagne, that is rhetorically not any different than me saying average, mediocre work.
I
not
disagree,
the
because
individual.
those words can be weaponized. Just like the word basic has been
Okay,
weaponized.
yeah,
I can call y'all basic. I can call y'all basic D's,
But
and
that's
y'all
what I'm
be
saying. But there's a
upset.
negative connotation. It's
You call
why
me mediocre, I'm out the room.
But
That
it's
is
why.
hurtful.
But also,
See how I made a whole
negative.
song called I don't want no mediocre.
But also, we've done that with the N-word. We've done it with the word whore. There's negative connotations to a lot of words, and if someone calls it to you, I get that. But
We
even with
reclaim the word whore. You
get
are
it.
talking about something
no,
totally
But
different.
what I'm saying is,
Nobody is reclaiming
when she
average
brought
and
up-
mediocre.
Even when she brought up C's and D's in school, academically, a C says you're average.
That's exactly
I
what
don't
it
know.
means.
I don't know
And people
why
have
that's a problem being average.
Because people,
if you're
Mandy,
okay accepting
Mandy,
C's.
I'm going to
Because
tell
I don't think
you.
essential workers are average. I don't think
First
essential
of all,
workers are
Charlamagne,
mediocre.
let me finish this statement
I don't think
because
Uber
part
drivers,
of,
bus drivers, I don't think any of those people are average or mediocre.
I'm not saying that the people are average. So let's slow it down.
I don't think the job is average.
The job
Mediocre.
is average.
I don't think
the
so.
job is average by definition. It says that most people can do it per the skill set. It also speaks to the income it commands. It speaks to scarcity and demand.
So what
That's
do we say
what we're
about the
talking
people
about.
that are holding college degrees that have to drive Uber right now because
They're
they can't
doing
get into
mediocre work. So Weezy, let me be very clear as to what I'm not saying. No, y'all got to listen to this. I am not saying that a piece of paper makes you a more valuable individual. I didn't say that. I don't believe that. I prove it to you. I let a lawyer go because when I was ready to go, where I was trying to go and vacation with him, sir, your particular way of practicing law did not allow provision and protection.
But I think what's the real question is, if C's and D's aren't good enough, and you're saying that
Do
a
you think
higher
C's and
education,
D's are good
what
enough?
I'm saying is you're saying a higher education also doesn't mean that, then what do they have to do to be excellent? Because
exceptional.
I'm someone who did have C's, B's, A's. I own 3 businesses. I'm sitting here with all y'all, and shit, we all make 7 figures. Maybe I'm on the lower end of this as a mediocre person. It's like,
you don't know what I make. I don't make that kind of money.
I mean,
Why are you lying?
He probably makes 8.
This is the thing. Bringing in essential workers and saying that they are posturing, the fact that essential workers are average or somehow mediocre in a negative connotation is the problem here. I don't think that she was saying that. I think the original conversation should have stuck to her saying, hey, look, for me dating, this is not what I want. I want better for the man that I date versus putting it on a culture. And this is why we're here today. And this is why they're able to move the goalposts. Now, Ren and Stimpy, I don't know the girl in the glasses. I don't know who she is, but she completely missed the whole point. And, you know, Ebony, it's hard to argue logic with people who are in their feelings. And that's just a matter of fact. It's very hard to argue logic with people who are basically feelings based on everything that they're saying, because they're not going to hear you. They're not going to understand you. They're just going to continue to be in their feelings, and they're just going to stay there. I see nothing wrong with Ebony saying what she's saying. I feel like Envy and Charlemagne are hypocrites. They are successful men, and if their daughters were successful in their own right, they would not really care for their daughters to date the bus driver, period. But see, it's good now because it's something that everybody's all up in arms about. That's just my opinion. Ebony, like I said, you should have stuck to the original comment. I don't want to date a man who is a bus driver. I want a man who owns the bus or owns the company, and that's just that. You shouldn't have took it to all of this other stuff, because now you got people telling you moving the goalpost as they move the goalpost, and there's nothing wrong with what you said. There's nothing wrong with what you said. There's nothing wrong with us as black people being able to level up as a collective, not accept the average. And the whole C's and D's, thing, bringing that up, saying, hey, well, C's and D's, you shouldn't accept that. That's an academic thing. And what we know is most people aren't academically sound. So the whole school thing shouldn't have even been referenced. I'll say this. You're talking to four people, who in any circumstance that benefits them will be hypocrites. And that's just facts. Charlemagne, Envy, Ren, and Stimpy would not be okay if their daughters came home with the dude who worked on the corner but had ambition. They would not be okay with if their daughters came home with the dude who works at the corner of Happy and Healthy, aka Walgreens, when she's a Fortune 500 owner of a company. And that's just that. It's nothing about education. It's nothing about class. It's nothing about any of those things. It's just basically about who you feel is best for you. And Ebony, if you had stuck to that, we wouldn't be having this conversation, child. They wouldn't be able to talk to you like this on the Breakfast Club, and Envy couldn't get the Bejometer up to the highest level of the Bejometer, because he's basically fake woke and fake drove about a situation that he wouldn't want his children in. That's my opinion on this, man. I might be wrong. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all think. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Is Eboni K. Williams tripping? Did she deflect? I believe she did, but I still believe that her original statement was facts. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all hoes later. Bye.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.